Dave Campbell and Jim Cott, thank you very much. Chris Berman and Buck Martinez here at Candlestick for the renewal of what last year was a simple baseball classic. The Braves and the Giants. There's one out in the bottom of the second inning of a scoreless game. Todd Benzinger, the number 6 hitter for the San Francisco Giants, the first baseman, facing Greg Maddux, who has all he's done the last 2 seasons win the Cy Young Award. 2 years ago as a Cub, last year as a member of the Atlanta Braves. He is looking for his 9th win. As you saw, Alvarez and Key 8-0 and 7-1 begin. Now here we go with arguably the best pitcher in baseball with Greg Maddux at the foul off the shin of Benzinger. Here's the Giants lineup tonight for Dusty Baker as the Giants try to salvage this 3rd of a 3-game set. Darren Lewis in center field, John Patterson playing for the injured Robbie Thompson at second. Matt Williams at third. Barry Bonds is the cleanup hitter tonight against the righty Maddux. Willie McGee is in right field. You see Benzinger, then Royce Clayton, Jeff Reed behind the plate, man wearing the night off, and Solomon Torres, who has looked pretty good in the first couple innings, but then again Greg Maddux, Buck, always looks good. 2 up, 2 down here in inning number 2.
He never looks too bad. I tell you, he got that fastball down and away from Benzinger. Second strike out of the ball game for Greg Maddux. He's not an overpowering pitcher, but he is a pitcher. He has good command of both sides of the plate. That fastball with a little late movement down and away from the switch hitter Benzinger. He just doesn't get himself into trouble.
Well, we saw a good first game at Yankee Stadium, feeling like meatloaf the first inning and a half here, Buck. All revved up with no place to go. But we're here, our first check-in the Hotel California. We got the purple coat on because, yes, it is special. I know the Giants and the Braves are in different divisions this year, and with the wild card scenario, we'll never have a situation where it takes 104 games to eliminate the other team with 103 games. But yet, the memory of last year is still very vivid for baseball fans, whether you're a Braves fan, Giants fan, or just a fan of the game. Of course, one thing that the Braves have done is they didn't stop with just beating the Giants up by 1 game in the NL West. Remember, they took 5 of the last 6 from the Giants. That's last year. And they've taken 4 of the first 5 from the Giants this year as Clayton bounds to shortstop. Jeff Blauser makes the throw over to Fred McGriff. So dig in. We've got 7 innings to go of or maybe more, of a scoreless game. Maddux against Torres. Braves and Giants scoreless after 2. Back to Candlestick Park. The sun's starting to set. It is breezy, but a beautiful day in the Bay Area. Of course, at Candlestick, you always bring the jacket, and Bobby Cox, no stranger to this environment, and this is his lineup tonight. Roberto Kelly, of course, has 4 hits in his first 2 games as an Atlanta Brave since coming over in the celebrated Dion trade. Jeff Blauser, the shortstop. Tony Tarasco gets the start in left field tonight. The crime dog, Fred McGriff, homered yesterday. He's at hitting cleanup. David Justice in right field. Terry Pendleton is at third base. The young catcher, Javi Lopez, 3 hits yesterday, is the catcher. Mark Officer Lemke is the second baseman. Greg Maddux, Gold Glove, Cy Young pitcher, is hitting 9th. And Solomon Torres, who has gone 6 up and 6 down thus far, Buck. Working for the Giants, he's 2-0 last month in the month of May.
He's been outstanding. This is his 9th start of the season, 2-2 on the year. He's got real good movement with his fastball. Basically, he'll want to keep that sinking fastball down around the knees. Good sharp breaking ball and a pretty decent changeup. There's 21 walks in 52 innings.
Javi Lopez skies this. Royce Clayton out, Barry Bonds in. It's Clayton on the outfield grass. And he makes the play, and Lopez is gone. The defense of the Giants is the best in baseball, Buck.
Without a doubt, and it's a defense surrounded by a center fielder out there. No errors in a 367 career games for Darren Lewis. Of course, Bonds in left field, outstanding. Willie McGee with good speed. This defense has committed just 19 errors so far. In May, they had a 10-game errorless streak.
This is Mark Lemke, who hitting in the number 8 slot is hitting .318. Lemmer, of course, such a fine postseason player for the Atlanta Braves. He's a lifetime .234 hitter. So last year it was Blauser that had the career year with the batting average. Boy, you can get production like this from the number 8 hole from your second baseman, Buck, and what a bonus this is.
Well, it is a bonus. Number 8 spot in the lineup, a very difficult place to hit because you got your pitcher behind you, and it's so important to try to keep the inning going, making sure the pitcher doesn't lead off the next inning. You know, there's Maddux swinging the bat on deck. Lemke might not be blessed with tremendous talent, but boy, he makes up for it with sheer determination. Understands how he can best help this ball club, moving runners along, putting the ball in play. They make a fine double play combination, Blauser and Lemke. Blauser was out for about 3.5 weeks with a rib cage problem. Still not 100%, but it's good enough for him to get back into the lineup.
Canada's 2-2 to Mark Lemke. He will foul it off.
You see the swing by Lemke there, pretty indicative of how much movement Torres has on his fastball. Take a look at the swing as that ball is away from Lemke, and he's really got to stretch to make contact with it.
Pitch is up and outside, 3-2. Solomon Torres last year came up and gave the Giants a, no pun intended, a real shot in the arm. He came up in late August, won a game at Florida when the Giants were going badly. This is just shortly before that the famous Braves series. Ground ball to Patterson. He will fire it over to Benzinger, and there's 2 down here in the Braves' 3rd inning. But Torres was looked at as a man coming up through the farm system. Had a couple of injuries not happen, I don't know that you would have seen Torres come up last season. He began the year in Shreveport, which is the AA farm club of the Giants, then moved on up to Phoenix. He was 7-4 in both places. Then came up was 3-5, and of course pitched that last game. And people do remember the last one where the Giants had won 3 straight in LA and were bombarded, and it was 12-1. But you know, Solomon Torres is 22 years old. To think about being that age in that spot. He said, though, the memory lingered with him all during the offseason, and he went April without a win. Just getting that first win in early May, he said, relaxed him so much, and he's been a much better pitcher since that win, and he's followed up with a second decision in the month of May win.
Well, that kind of effort can wear on anybody, even a veteran pitcher, but Torres has rebounded. Now he's throwing with much more confidence.
Then he go around, knows his first base umpire, Jerry Crawford. I don't think he did, but the crowd, why not? They're here. They might as well get into it. They would like to see the Giants beat the Braves. They'll take it any way they can. Well,
he went quite a ways.
Yeah, he did. The 1-2 pitch to Greg Maddux. A little chopper. This could be trouble. Royce Clayton showing the range and fires out Maddux. Look at the way Maddux charged down the line. But, dare we say it, 9 up, 9 down for Solomon Torres. The Giants coming up in the scoreless game, bottom of the 3rd. ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball is presented by Coors Light. When you want a taste that goes the distance, reach for the silver bullet. Coors Light. Keep on moving. Game 3 of a 3-game set between the Braves and Giants. Atlanta winning on Memorial Day, and a Jarvis Brown home run in extra innings off Rod Beck, 4-3. Atlanta homered in the 7th, 8th, and 9th yesterday afternoon. 3 runs in the 9th inning to beat the Giants 6-3. And can they sweep the San Francisco Giants? They have the man on the hill that can do it, Greg Maddux, as he works through the catcher, Jeff Reed. 8-9-1 for the Giants. Reed, Torres, and Darren Lewis. Chris Berman along with Buck Martinez here at Candlestick, as the mint was on the pillow, the light was on the bed made in the Hotel California. And I just found that it was fitting that it was the first song I heard on the car radio Monday when we landed. I think they knew we were coming.
You're comfortable again in California. There's that ever-present wind at the stick, swirling around top of the stadium. Well, all the players are talking about not really having a read on anything hit in the air tonight.
No, that's nothing new. This is Jeff Reed, who's the cat. Well, there's the patented Candlestick look. Although, let me tell you something. They between every half inning, they picked up every wrapper, and they want to make this on the Peter McGowan. He'll stop this thing and get the wrapper off the third base line unless it goes off by itself. Legendary, all the hot dog wrappers in the old days, and then against the chain link fence out in center field. Jeff Reed will foul it off. And it's wanted to start to say Manwaring is the regular catcher. Reed getting the shot tonight, but I mean, he's not only is he below the Mendoza line, he is near the interstate. The interstate, of course, being below 100. He's hitting 119 this year, but maybe this is part of the reason why he's in.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with it. 289 against Maddux. Maddux has held opponents under 200 this year, so Reed's had some luck against him.
Bruce Fleming rings him up, and there is one down.
Greg Maddux is good on both sides of the plate. Javi Lopez sets up inside, and he gets enough movement to run that ball back over the inside corner. Third strikeout for Maddux. Reed's going to go over and ask Fromming to give him that pitch when he's behind the plate.
There he goes right over and puts on the shin guards because he can see how Maddux is working, the same as every other night. Here is his opposite, Solomon Torres. How good has Greg Maddux been? Well, just as an Atlanta Brave last year and this year, he's made 47 starts, Buck, as a Brave. 41 times he's allowed 3 earned runs or less. 35 of his 47 starts, he's gone 7 or more innings. Wow.
Well, you know that when he takes the mound, he's not going to give up many runs. There's the opponent's batting average, 193. He throws a lot of strikes, doesn't throw many pitches. He's walked just 17 this year.
Ground ball to Lemke, over to McGriff, and Torres is down.
Let's take a look at the Braves defense. Behind the plate, rookie Javi Lopez has taken over every day. No errors this season. Bobby Cox, the manager, has been very impressed with the way he's handled himself behind the plate. But for Lopez, it's really a great staff to break into the big leagues with. Everybody throws strikes. Everybody's around the plate. But Javi Lopez has been talked about for a number of years as being the catcher of the future in Atlanta. And boy, has he done a good job.
As has Charlie O'Brien, who is, of course, defensively has always been very good. He and Lopez, the two new catchers. Here is Darren Lewis with a shot to right center field, and that's a base hit. First safety of the night for either team, and D-Lou, as they call him here in San Francisco, is aboard.
Well, he went down and got a pretty good pitch. Talking about Maddux always wanting to get ahead and throw that first pitch strike. This ball is on the outside part of the plate. Might have been low, but Lewis goes down and gets it and rakes it into right center. Roberto Kelly over to cut it off, and Lewis is in first with 2 down.
Lewis can run. Patterson is up. John Patterson, of course, at the home run that will put him in baseball lore for a long time. In his first at-bat of the year in the majors, called up on September 1st. A 2-2 game off Mark Wohlers in Atlanta. Home run that you and I had the pleasure of announcing that game. And at that point, the Giants felt they had stemmed the Braves' tie. Of course, it was not to be, but Patterson, you know, people were saying, well, remember, it's like the pinch hitting of Dusty Rhodes in 1951 when the Giants got to the World Series. But now as a starter for the injured Robbie Thompson, as Lopez and Maddux talking over, Patterson has really struggled, hitting just 206, and of course a lot of pressure when you're expected to deliver. And it's something we'll talk about on the night or the evening, Buck. The Giants not scoring runs in the first inning, which was their trademark last year. You could trace a lot of it to the lack of production in the number 2 hole right here.
Robbie Thompson out of the lineup with an injury.
Pitch out, Lewis not going. So that's what they were talking about, huh? Wendell Kim giving the signs at third.
Well, Maddux was very determined in his conversation with Lopez. Looks as though that he wanted to make sure Lopez understood what he would like to do in this situation.
Which is out outside at 2-0, which is interesting. Remember, Williams and Bonds coming up after, so the fact that Maddux scores 2-0 count for him, no problem. He'll come in right over the plate. Just very interesting to watch the way Greg Maddux works. We talked about it, Buck, that if you look at this staff, 2-0 pitch. There goes Lewis. Hit and run. Worked perfectly. This is the alley. Lewis will be waved around. No, he's being held up now at third. And as Justice got over very quickly. I thought Lewis with a head of steam, if that ball could have taken a skip, they might have sent Aaron Lewis home.
Well, they got the ball back to the infield quickly, and you really don't want to gamble. Let's take a look at the hit and run. Hit and run break. Patterson delivers, gets it by Lemke at second. It goes into right center. Lewis moves around second into third base. Here's another look at the break. Right there, he takes a look at it, sees it in right center. Now Wendell Kim is at third base. He picks him up and gets the stop sign. So it's first and third with 2 outs. Lewis at third, John Patterson with the second hit of the inning, and the Giants are threatening.
Crowd coming alive. Williams had a 2-run homer yesterday in the first inning, his 19th of the season, which enabled him to tie Eric Davis's marks. And with the 87 Reds, his most homers by a National League player in the first 2 months of the season. Skies it to right center field. Kelly and Justice going back. It's Justice that makes the call, has some twists and turns, but Williams is gone and Maddux is out of him. So the Giants get a couple of hits, but strand a pair, scoreless through 3.
And this doesn't look right. Not right. That's not right either. I can't. What's wrong? Something's wrong. I can't. Oh, that's much better. Very good. Okay, let's play ball.
The Indians take on the Athletics Sunday at 8 Eastern, only on ESPN.
The Silver Bullet takes us to Cincinnati, where the Expos built a 10-9 lead in the 9th inning. Pedro Martinez called in out of the bullpen. His first save as an Expo. Montreal had a 5-run 8th on the Reds. Chris Berman wasted a big night from Deion Sanders. He had 3 hits, a single, a double, and a triple. Back to San Francisco.
All right, Chris, thank you. And you know who pointed that out an hour and a half ago with a smile on his face? John Sherholtz, Buck, general manager of the Braves, says, hey, see what Deion's doing tonight? Single, double, triple. He said, hey, we knew this wasn't a trade of chopped liver for chopped liver.
Yeah, he was kind of pulling for him to hit that home run for the cycle.
He was. Speaking of Deion Sanders and whom he was traded for, scoreless game, top of the 4th, and here is Roberto Kelly, who is, well, now 4 for 10 as an Atlanta Brave. Kelly grounded to third to lead off the game. I saw him before the game and said to Roberto, congratulations. Then he said, well, I don't know if you're supposed to say congratulations or what. He says, no, you can say congratulations. He's happy to be here with the Braves.
Yeah, he didn't waste any time at all reporting to his new ball club.
2-run homer here yesterday brought the Braves from behind.
Chris, this is the first time the Braves have seen Solomon Torres, so it'll be interesting to watch them as they work their way through their second at bat. First time around the lineup, Torres was perfect. It takes a while, even for good hitters like the Braves have in their lineup, to get a read on movement and velocity, see what kind of breaking ball he's got.
Well, he loses Kelly, so the Braves have their first base runner of the evening. Torres has been pitching very well the first 3 innings. Watch him tonight when he delivers the ball. His arm is kind of a whippet. It doesn't come straight over the top, Buck, which as a catcher, you know better than I do that sometimes he can be just a little bit of the change of the angle and the ball sail on him a little bit. That's what Kurt Manwaring was talking about. We talked about Torres yesterday, but he says he's getting a little more consistent, and first time through he seemed to be in some sort of rhythm.
Yeah, everybody looks for a consistent release point. No matter what kind of arm action you have, you want to make sure that you get back to just about the same spot every time. I think one thing we have to remember throughout the course of the game, how quickly Solomon Torres has come through the organization. This is just his 5th pro season.
He's a non-drafted free agent in 1989. Jeff Blauser will hit this one down the right field line. Willie McGee over, takes a wild carom. Kelly held up. I guess if he was motoring, they could have sent him home, but with none out. And the heart of the lineup coming up. Why bother? This is part of the new Candlestick here. The stands configuration is a little bit different, and the ball taking some different caroms down the line than it did in previous years, and that one fooled McGee, Buck.
Well, it did. Watch this replay. Inside out swing by Blauser. He dumps it inside the foul line, and there's that new wall. McGee plays it fairly well, gets over to it, and gets it back to the infield. Jimmy Williams, the third base coach, threw up the stop sign to hold Kelly at third base. A new base runner on a new team. As good a coach as Jimmy Williams is, I think he's one of the best base running coaches in the big leagues. He takes a while to get a read on just how fast Kelly's coming. So, scoreless ball game, nobody out, you stop him. Safety first.
Well, everybody's learning. Kelly's learning about his teammates, and it's a good point, Buck. The coaches, I mean, they've obviously seen Roberto play last year as an opponent with the Reds, but they're just, and Jimmy had seen him in the American League before when he was with the Yankees, but now you see him every day, they'll get to know him quickly. Here is Tony Tarasco, who gets the start in left, kind of a spot starter. Klesko starts a lot of the time in left field. Dave Gallagher gets a lot of play, especially in the late innings. You know, with the breezy evening, they figure Tarasco defensively and at the plate combination is the best choice. Tarasco sends this one to right field. McGee, a long running catch. Kelly scores, and now you can see why they held him up on the play. An impressive stroke by Tarasco, and the Braves lead it 1-0.
Boy, that ball really took off, too. It looked like a routine fly ball toward right field. Kelly comes in and scores, first run of the ball game. But Tarasco does a good job. All you're thinking about doing now in this at-bat is get the ball airborne. He goes down, gets the pitch, strokes it to right field. And watch how McGee has to go toward the warning track. That ball really took off on him. Very windy night here in Candlestick. And that ball up the alley in right center was flying.
That was powdered. Speaking of somebody who can powder the ball, here is the crime dog, Fred McGriff. McGriff homered yesterday to tie the game at 3 in the 8th inning. Braves then rallied with 3 in the 9th to win it 6-3. McGriff has 30 or more home runs the last 6 seasons, and there was the home run type swing. Fred already almost halfway there with 14 homers. To put into perspective what he has done, he's only the 12th man to hit 30 or more home runs 6 straight seasons. 10 of the others are in the Hall of Fame. The 11th is Mike Schmidt, who will be. So that kind of puts into perspective what McGriff has done. Now here's the list, just kind of an interesting list. Let's see if you've heard of any of these guys, Paul. Aaron, Ruth, Mays, Robinson, Killebrew, Mantle, Fox, McCovey, Matthews, Kiner, Schmidt, McGriff. Pretty good list.
McGriff reminds many people of Willie McCovey. Same type of stance. McCovey was much closer to the plate. Big hero here in San Francisco, of course.
I know that he's as big up top at the shoulders as Willie Mack, but certainly in height he's close. And of course a same amount of no doubt, well, not the same amount, McCovey with 521 lifetime home runs, but many of McGriff's are no doubters, and he's the type of guy that you come out. Well, I remember as a kid, whenever the Giants came to town, you get to batting practice early just to watch Willie McCovey take BP. Wasn't so much Mays during BP, it was McCovey. Count is 3-1 to McGriff. Ooh, and they almost had Blauser leaning the wrong way.
These are the counts that you hate to see to Fred McGriff. 3-1, he can really zero in on a pitch. He struck out on a sinking fastball away from him his first time up. Very concerned about Blauser at first base and chase him back. McGriff is an unusual combination for a power hitter in that he's got the ability to drive the ball out anywhere in the ballpark, but he also has a very good eye. He'll be awfully selective here.
Blauser's running, McGriff swinging on the hit and run, fouls it back. But Jeff has yet to steal a base this year. I know he doesn't go often. He had 16 last year, but still, we're June 1st. No stolen bases yet for Blauser. The Braves, of course, part of the question in the Kelly trade was, boy, you take Dion out of the lineup. Who really, Roberto Kelly's a pretty good runner. They don't have a lot of speed. That's the one thing that if you say, well, what don't they have? You might say speed.
Yeah, they don't have an awful lot of speed in the middle of their lineup. And you look at McGriff, Justice, Terry Pendleton, and the catcher, Javi Lopez. But their job is to pound it out of the ballpark.
Full count, 3-2 to Fred McGriff. There is 1 out, 1 run in. Blauser at first base, top of the 4th inning. Sullivan Torres, there goes Blauser again. The throw by Reed, and it's a double dip. The strikeout, and Reed fires out Jeff Blauser, which gets the fans on their feet. The Braves to pick up a run to lead it 1-0. Now welcome back to the Hotel California. Glad you could check in with us. Now the Braves doing something the Giants couldn't do, Buck. Runner in scoring position, they got him in.
Yeah, they got a couple of runners on with 2 outs, but like they've done all year long, they're having a tough time hitting with runners in scoring position, batting just .225. Braves, on the other hand, took advantage of the hit batter. They played hit and run, went first to third, and then Tony Carrasco delivered the sac fly to right field to put the Braves up 1-0.
So here we go in the bottom of the 4th inning. And how's this for power against power? The man that's won the Cy Young Award the last 2 years in the National League against the man that's won the MVP 3 of the last 4 years in the National League. Greg Maddux against Barry Bonds. And that's why if you're in the East, you've stayed up late to watch confrontations like this one. Bonds hitting cleanup tonight against the righties. He will hit 4 and Williams 3. Against the lefties, he will hit 3 and Williams 4. Barry is playing with an injured right elbow. He was hit yesterday on it again by Steve Avery. This is something that he's had some chips in, Buck, and some floating particles. And he was hit earlier this year by the Mets' Eric Hillman. And it's just, you see the protective, the elbow pad there. Bonds rips it against the shift, which we'll tell you about in a moment, and that's Pendleton playing where the shortstop should. There's 1 out. Here's Chris Myers.
All right, Chris, Silver Ball at Texas to Shea, 6th inning. This Bobby Bonilla and Ryan Thompson, and Bonilla reportedly accused Thompson of not hustling, or at least questioned his hustle. They nearly went at it and had to be separated. Thompson did have a home run in the ballgame. In the 9th, the Mets trailed 4-3, bases loaded, but Jeff Kent goes down swinging against Bruce Ruffin, and the Mets lose it to the Rockies 4-3. Back to San Francisco.
Oh, those New York Mets. You know, Bonds' at bat was so quick, Buck, that next time up, folks at home, watch this interesting shift, which I don't believe anyone has done against Bonds before. Bobby Cox, during this 3-game series, has the 3 infielders on the right side, and Pendleton, where you saw in almost the shortstop positions, almost like the Ted Williams or the McCovey shift.
Well, that's what Barry thinks about that shift. Braves have done it against him before. They really have looked at their charts, and Barry just hasn't hit anything to the left side of the field against Atlanta pitching. Good change up there, had McGee way out in front.
What are you telling me? He thinks it's a... No, I can't say it. I can't say it. Not late enough yet. Willie McGee grounded to second base his first time up. So McGee will be the 5 hitter, and he had 3 RBIs, all 3 runs batted into the Monday game. The 4-3 extra inning win by the Braves. But that's really what you're looking at, the Giants now. Their run, Buck, you mentioned that they're hitting .225 with runners in scoring position, the 2nd worst in baseball. The 2-hole, which we talked about, has been trouble with Thompson out. The 5-hole, it's going to be McGee, and he waves at that one. Lopez will have to throw down to first to make it official. There are 2 down, but the 5-hole, some trouble. The first base slot, although Will Clark did not hit well last year as a Giant, Benzinger's hitting has been a little bit off. They called up J.R. Phillips, by the way, from Phoenix, who is not starting tonight, but he will certainly see some time at first base. They need to get some firepower from somebody other than Williams and Bonds, and they're just waiting for that. Royce Clayton has shown spark, like he may really be a 280 or 290 hitter, Buck.
Well, they got Clayton, and of course they have Manwaring, who can be productive, and he takes his turn behind the plate.
Scoring runs has been the Giants' problem. That's why they're 2 below 500 as Todd Benzinger looks at ball 1.
I think the important thing to remember is that the Giants are just 3 games back in the National League West.
Yeah, this is a whole different story this year, and you don't need us to tell you, but if there is a silver lining in the Giants' struggling start, it's that, you know, 103 games they don't get in the playoffs last year. 2-0 pitch to Benzinger to take it up top 3-0. This allows them, barring like a 15-game winning streak by the Dodgers, to take a half a season and get the train running straight on the track. Billy Swift threw a simulated game today. They expect him back Monday to make a start. Ripped by Benzinger off the glove of Lemke. Boy, does that carry fast. Bobbled by Justice. Benzinger's going to try as Justice dribbles it in right center field. Benzinger up to second base. But that's where the wind is going, Buck. We can see that.
Yeah, that ball looked like it skipped on Dave Justice as he was trying to get over and cut it off. Take a look at this base hit. Ripped by Lemke at second base. Takes a wicked hop, and then watch it scoot on the grass. Justice puts a glove on it, but then can't find a handle. 2-3 times picks it up, and all the while Benzinger is hustling into second base. A single and an error on the right fielder.
It was a double dribble on Justice, don't you?
He just couldn't find a handle on that thing.
Now this will bring up Royce Clayton, the young shortstop, hitting at 256. Let me just finish the point on the Giants that they still do have, in a perfect world, Burkett, Swift, and Portugal. A bullpen which may be without Kevin Rogers for the end of the year, but a pretty good one with Berman and Jackson to set up Beck. And if a couple of hitters other than Williams and Bonds, i.e. Thompson, maybe Clayton, the guy at the plate, step up, they're still in very good position to perhaps win the division. And even though their record may be worse than the other 2 division winners and the wild card, let's just say Montreal, they still may have the ingredients for the postseason.
One thing they do very well, of course, is catch the ball. So they'll never give the other team an awful lot of extra opportunities. So you're encouraged by that. And then if you can get some pitchers healthy again and get them back.
Lemke will squeeze it, and again, runners in scoring position, and the failure of the Giants to deliver. So Maddux wriggles free. 1-0 Braves through 4. Welcome back to San Francisco for ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Coors Light. The pitching's been pretty heavy thus far. It's Greg Maddux twirling a shutout against Solomon Torres, who has actually given up only 1 hit to the Giants 3. It's the Braves that have the lead as we head to the 5th inning. Justice, Pendleton, and Lopez 5, 6, 7 in the lineup, and Justice swings at the first pitch and chops it foul. We mentioned before the wall that McGee had trouble with the ball down right field, seeing Justice chop the ball off some new stands. We'll show you some of the new configurations of Candlestick in a moment. They have cut down the foul ground here at Candlestick quite a bit. Now that's the view from the left field line. As the count is 1-2 to Justice, but the bullpens have moved up, and there is less foul ground. There's still a lot. There's less foul ground than there used to be. There's about 400 new seats, 200 down each line. That part that juts out, those are new seats, kind of deluxe seats, higher price seats. You're right down in the action. Other changes here at Candlestick. You see that track right there? That's tartan surface, like they have the rubberized surface in the Baltimore and the Cleveland, the new parks. But here's something that I wish those parks would do, Buck. In the outfield here at Candlestick, in the field of play, they've left it the old cinder and clay and the regular dirt, because your outfielders trying to make a play on the warning track on the tartan, and the ball bounces funny. It's not fun to make a slide on. So.
No, it's very difficult for outfielders to even consider diving on that artificial surface, but you can see the warning track inside the playing field is all that natural dirt and cinders.
And that ball is past Reed. He can't find it. Justice walked, and it went into the stands.
It's out of play. The base runner can't advance beyond first base.
Giants get a break.
Yeah, from the mound. Take a look at the catcher. Watch the catcher react as this ball is in the dirt. It's ball 4. Justice sees the ball go over the screen, but Reed doesn't have any idea where it is. Ball is over the screen. It becomes a dead ball there. Justice reaches base on ball 4. The ball is ruled out of play.
Second walk for the youngster Solomon Torres. And that'll bring up Terry Pendleton. Pendleton, remember last year in the middle of May, was hitting way below 200. Terry was, early May, was 148 before he came on to finish with a 272 mark, so you know that he hit way above 300 for the rest of the season. We mention this because he's hitting only 236 right now, but compared to last year, he's doing just fine. Pendleton, of course, won the MVP and the batting title in the National League just 3 years ago in 1991. When you look out there, Buck, for the Atlanta Braves, the 8 position players, just 4 of them are the same on June 1st a year ago. Pendleton, Blauser, and Lemke in the infield, Justice in right field. The catchers, both are new. McGriff, remember, wasn't here yet with the Braves last year at this time. It was still Bream and Hunter. Center field was Nixon or Deion Sanders, and left field was Ron Gant. So now Toronto changed and still won the World Series. 4 of the 8 position players different in the past 12 months for the Atlanta Braves.
Well, they're still fiddling with this team, trying to get that elusive World Series ring. I think back to last year, and everybody remembers the way the Braves finished up, but remember that they were 10 games behind the Giants on the 22nd of July. Made a tremendous run in the second half. Good movement on that fastball. I think Dusty Baker will be very pleased with what he's seen from Torres tonight. Very good hitting at the Atlanta Ball Club. And the walk in the 4th inning of Roberto Kelly to start the inning led to the only run in the ball game.
Count is 1-2 to Terry Pendleton. A ground ball to short. Clayton, Patterson, not in time. Just too slow a hopper to turn it on Pendleton. So a fielder's choice for Terry, and there's 1 out.
Yeah, that wasn't hit sharply enough for 2. You see that Clayton's got to wait for it. The underhand toss to Patterson. Justice is bearing down on the Giants' second baseman, and Terry Pendleton beats the relay across the bag. Just wasn't hit sharp enough for 2.
We'd like to welcome those of you that may have wandered for a moment and watched the Indiana Pacers take a 3-2 lead over the Knicks, beating the Knicks at Madison Square Garden 93-86. Chris Berman and Buck Martinez. Here at Candlestick Park, the Braves leading the Giants 1-0 in a pitcher's duel between Greg Maddux and Solomon Torres. At the top of the 5th inning, 1 out, and Pendleton is on first base. You know, last year on June 1st, Buck, the Braves were 29-23. The Giants were in first place when they're in the same division in the West at 33-18. So at this time last year, the Giants had a 4.5-game bulge on the Atlanta Braves. So from 29-23, the Braves record of 31-18. A, it looks good anyway. B is a marked improvement. That's the best they have been in any of these 4 years of these contending years, by far, on June 1st. Part of the reason they're 19-7 on the road, which is unbelievable.
Well, they've got that good pitching staff, and they'll always give the offense a chance to win. Their bullpen is throwing very well this year, although they might not have a real marquee closer. They have a very effective bullpen.
Javi Lopez pops it up. This is going to be interesting for Benzinger and Patterson. Patterson looked pretty smooth on that play and makes it on that tartan area in the Giants bullpen, and there's 2 outs.
Now, Dusty Baker feels that his club has a distinct advantage playing here at night under these windy conditions because of plays just like this. Their ball club can handle them. It was interesting talking to Mark Lemke before the game, saying he has never seen Matt Williams have trouble with a pop-up in this ballpark as windy as it gets. Gives him an awful lot of credit for his concentration and hard work. You know, that's an aspect of the game that a slugger could forget about. But Williams does an awful lot of work to make sure that that aspect of his defense is covered.
Mark Lemke swinging at the first pitch. Patterson will flip it to Clayton for the force. Pendleton is out at second base, and the Braves are out in the 5th inning. 1-0 Braves, heading to the bottom of the 5th. Stay with us. ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by the makers of Loris LumaBright watches. A new star is born.
Bobby Bonds in the dugout with Royce Clayton. Clayton popped up to second base, and Bonds is reminding him, man, you got to think, make sure you have an idea what you want to do in those situations. We've talked about the Giants and their struggles batting with runners in scoring position. Tonight they've had a couple of opportunities to get on the board, and Greg Maddux has pitched his way out of those situations.
8-9-1 for the Giants. Jeff Reed, Solomon Torres, and the leadoff hitter Darren Lewis. 1-0. Maddux looking for win number 9 on the season. He goes into the game with an ERA of 1.47. Reed fouls it off. Now, just to put that in perspective, I mean, think about guys that have had ERA under 2. Of course, Gibson's year in 1968 comes to mind.
112. 13 shutouts that year for Bob Gibson.
Haven't been many. Ripped by Reed. So here's, well, Buck, you pointed out, here's a guy that has a very good career batting average against Greg Maddux. So you say, why would you start Reed, who's hitting 119 going into the game against Maddux? He's hit the ball well.
Well, when you're looking for something to spark a team offensively and you're not swinging the bats well, you look for these kind of matchups. You go down, look at your roster, and see who might have done well against Greg Maddux. Dusty Baker found Jeff Reed's name, hitting .289 coming into action tonight, and he's 1 for 2 tonight. Just the 4th hit that Maddux has allowed. Looking for the bunt, way in at 3rd.
Well, let's see, Pendleton and McGriff almost reached out and touched Torres on that bunt attempt. So the rotation play.
Watch how Pendleton gets right on top.
That time he's another step or 2 behind than he was on the first pitch, and the count is 1-1.
Terry Pendleton starts out in on the grass, and then watch him move in as Torres squares around. He's only about 35 feet away from home plate. Dusty Baker might turn Torres loose if Pendleton stays right on top of him. Well, he squared again.
Whoa.
Here's his first.
Yes, sir. Nice rotation play by the Braves as Lemke went over to cover, and Javi Lopez just snapped the throw, and Reed was a dead duck.
But Torres bunts through the ball. Jeff Reed with that little extra step, anticipating a ball put into play. He's thinking about trying to get a jump with those infielders on top of him. Look at Lopez, works to Lemke, and Reed's out by a mile. Bobby Bonds didn't have a very good reaction to that. He shouldn't have.
Torres, the pitch was out of the strike zone for Torres, but Reed just was not paying attention.
Well, you remember the shot of Bobby Bonds talking to Royce Clayton about thinking. You just can't make those kinds of mistakes in low-scoring ball games. They get the leadoff hitter on against the toughest pitcher in the National League. Got a chance to maybe get back in the ball game, and Jeff Reed gets picked off at first. Not much a coach can do in that situation. That's instincts. You got to make sure you don't drift too far. And Reed got caught when Torres bunted through that ball.
Count is 2-2 to Torres. He will chop it foul. Solomon is 3 for 16 at the plate this year. 3 hits with singles. Yeah, Jeff Reed knows that he made a mistake. There's a pitch to Torres stakes for strike 3, and now there are 2 outs. That is the 5th strikeout for Maddux, 1 every inning. Hey, no striking out here. What a great opening game of the Stanley Cup Finals, where at the end of the first overtime, Greg Adams scored after Leach hit the crossbar for the Rangers, and the surprising Vancouver Canucks, the number 7 team from the West for the Campbell Conference, lead the Rangers 1-0 in the Stanley Cup Playoffs Game 2 tomorrow night from Madison Square Garden at 8 Eastern Time, 5 on the West Coast. Kirk McLean, what, 52 saves in that game? Well, the Rangers had that great series against the Devils and go right into out of the frying pan and into the fire with another overtime, a long first overtime against the surprising Vancouver Canucks. Darren Lewis swings a bit with the Canucks, 7th team in the West. The Pacers, the 7th team in the East in basketball, may advance. What's going on here?
Well, the Vancouver Canucks have a big team, one of the few teams that can really handle that on-rushing range and charge.
The 1-1 pitch to Darren Lewis with Pendleton way in on the grass, and that misses. The count is 2-1. You know, we talk about Greg Maddux, you know, the 5 strikeouts, 1 every inning. He's not out there trying to punch out 12 and 13 guys, but here's something that is impressive, as you know, Buck. When you add innings pitched and look up how many hits you've given up and add the walks. Going into the game, 86 innings pitched by Maddux, 59 hits, 13 walks. When you add up hits and walks and they're less than innings pitched, it's maybe 1 or 2 guys a year that have that total. Maddux is way under his innings pitched.
Well, you know, the thing that you have to think about is the fact that Greg Maddux isn't a blazing fastball pitcher. He'll get up to 85, 87 once in a while, but he's just makes his bread and butter on control and command of his pitches, reading how hitters are reacting to his pitches and where they're making contact.
Misses inside to Lewis, so Darren is aboard for the 2nd time tonight. 2-out walk to Darren Lewis. That's Maddox's first base on balls of the evening. We're talking about control. Obviously gave him the whammy because we talked about it during that at bat. And that'll bring up John Patterson, who has been aboard twice, hit by pitch and singled sharply to right field, his 2nd time up.
Darren Lewis, 16 of 24 on the season, stealing. They played hit and run last time he was on. There he goes.
There
Pitch
it goes
out
again. Yep, Lopez, but the throw is in the dirt, and Lewis beats it anyway. Well, they had the right play call. They just didn't execute it. Lewis can fly. Still got a good break, didn't he?
Yeah, he got a good jump, but what happens sometimes to catchers is when they call a pitch out, they take too long to unload. Watch the break by Lewis. Good jump, good acceleration. Lopez took a long time to unload that pitch. The ball was in the dirt. Lewis helped out the umpire with the safe sign. He has 17 stolen bases now, and here's another giant in scoring position.
3rd time now on the night. The 3rd, the 4th, and now the 5th inning. Giants with a runner in scoring position. Although, to give Maddux credit, each time it's come with 2 outs. Of course, now you look back at the play that Reed was picked off first base by Lopez, and that looms rather large, Buck.
They had that leadoff runner on, and then he was picked off by the catcher.
So Lopez 1 for 2 this inning in delivering the throw. Count is 2-0 to John Patterson. Giants crowd getting in a little bit, and a brisk, not ridiculously brisk, but a Candlestick-esque evening.
Once again, Greg Maddux called out the young catcher, saying, okay, now you're thinking all right, but he wanted to make sure that Lopez understands where he wants to go now. One thing about pitcher and catcher situations, there are very few catchers that ultimately call the game in the big leagues anymore. The pitcher's the guy that's in control, particularly a guy like Lopez working to a young catcher, a guy like Maddux working to a young catcher like Lopez.
Had a talk with Tommy Glavine about that subject before the game. I mean, you know, think of Maddux and Glavine. They know more about what they're trying to do than Lopez does. And Glavine said, yes, he's called them out several times in a game, just like you just saw Maddux do.
All you want to do as a catcher is make sure you don't get in their way.
Count is 3-0. And Maddux all of a sudden has gotten a little wild. And now the Giants with a good shot here. They trail it 1-0, but with 2 men on, Matt Williams is coming up. With 2 men on the last time up, Williams swung at the first pitch and hit a fly ball to right field. Let's see if he's more patient this time, especially since Maddux has just walked the last 2 batters.
Well, Maddux has the reputation of wanting to get that first pitch over for a strike. But after this situation, walking 2 batters with 2 outs, I wouldn't be surprised to see him start Williams with a breaking ball, something off the plate. Not really give in to him here.
Williams leads the National League in home runs with 19. Up top and outside for a ball. Ball sailing a little bit on Greg. So as soon as we talked about his lack of walks, he's gone out and walked 2 Giants.
I think he was trying to throw that ball upstairs, see if Matt Williams would be anxious on the first pitch after a couple of walks.
Took something off that one. Matty ahead of it, 1-1.
Javi Lopez, see the tape on his fingers? Some places it's awfully dark after he puts his hand in there for the signs, and the pitchers want to make sure they see all those fingers correctly, so he tapes all the fingers.
Is that fluorescent tape?
No, just plain white tape to make sure that 2 doesn't look like 3. There you see how well it shows up.
Neon light back there. Buck count is 1-1. Williams fouls it back. I'll tell you something, if we can get a look at the third baseman, Terry Pendleton, when he sets up, I noticed this in yesterday's game. Pendleton plays a wide third base in the first place, but Williams is a pretty good pull hitter. Obviously, with Maddux and the type of pitchers the Braves have, they trust their control. But there's a lot of room down the left field line for Williams, which tells you that Maddux is working him exclusively outside.
Yeah, and once again, Lopez is out at Maddux's request. He called him out to make sure that they have their minds together. They don't want to make any mistake right here. Remember, Matt Williams is the one real productive Giant in the lineup for Dusty Baker right now. He's got 42 ribbies. And when you have a situation like this, Maddux ahead in the count, a ball and 2 strikes, his club's up by 1 run, Barry Bonds on deck, you want to make sure that your pitcher and catcher are thinking the same way.
2 out, count is 1-2 to Matt Williams, 2 men aboard. Giants trail 1-0 here, bottom of the 5th inning. Off speed, and that one Williams chopped down the third baseline. I'll tell you what, you don't have to drill it. There's a lot of room there where Pendleton is playing.
There you see how far Pendleton is off the line. Well, Bobby Cox keeps very meticulous charts. Remember the Barry Bonds shift we were talking about earlier?
We'll see that in a moment.
He's got some pretty good background for this defensive alignment. They are playing Williams way around toward right, infield and outfield. This is going to be hard inside.
Chop, but that time Pendleton had it played perfectly. Wouldn't chop down the line. Pendleton fielded it, tagged the base ahead of Lewis. And again, the Giants do not deliver with runners in scoring position. 1-0 Atlanta through 5. We are back at Candlestick. Top of the 6th inning. The Braves behind Greg Maddux lead the Giants and Solomon Torres 1-0, even though Torres has surrendered only 1 hit. Tony Tarasco's sacrifice fly in the 4th inning after a leadoff walk to Roberto Kelly. Tarasco with a 1 out delivered made the first down, the sacrifice fly, and that's all she wrote thus far. Glad you could be with us on the second half of what we think about as good a double dip as you're going to get at this time of the year in baseball, with the Yankees and the White Sox, the division leaders in the AL East and Central, with Alvarez and Key going. Now you have Greg Maddux looking for win number 9 for the leaders in the NL East, the Braves, against the team picked to win the NL West, the San Francisco Giants. here is Greg Maddux, who not only does he pitch well, he wins Gold Gloves, and he handles the bat very well. Maddux hitting .208 this season, and like we said, he handles the bat very well. And a shot to McGee, which, by the way, if Maddux doesn't run fast, if he's running like a Mickey Lolich or somebody down the line, McGee was in position to make a throw at first. The ball is jet streaming out. Year in and year out, Buck, the last few seasons, the Braves have led the National League, their pitchers, in batting.
Well, their pitchers are all real good athletes. Here, Maddux singles to right field and hustles down the line. He could see McGee was playing him way over there, and the ball was hit right to him, so he hustled down the line. They all understand what it takes to win. They got to handle a bat. They can't just go up there and concede the out. They're all good athletes, and they're all very competitive.
Well, I'll tell you what, Glavine swings a good bat. Avery does. I think you look through the 90s as this is Roberto Kelly up. Roberto was 0 for 1, walked and scored the only run of the game. They've either led or have been second in batting average of pitchers in 91, 92, and 93. So that's another little part of the game that the Braves do very well, not surrendering an out.
How about Stanton won a game against the Phillies with a couple of hits in that ball game. The game-winning hit was a bunt that he popped over the third baseman's head.
By the way, in case those have missed it, as you look down to the bullpen, there's Charlie O'Brien and Kent Magic Merker, who authored a no-hitter earlier this year. Here's a guy, he's pitched a no-hitter, and he's had 6 starts all year, and he could pitch tonight. His next start won't be till the middle of next week. I believe it's on Tuesday night. He could pitch tonight and even Friday night in relief. So, I mean, you pitch a no-hitter, but on this staff, so what?
Pretty tough rotation to break into.
Some of the Braves hurlers, who, by the way, when I started to say, if you missed it, Greg Olson was called up. That's the former all-star reliever of the Orioles, not the catcher. He pitched in the Monday game here, called up after he pitched pretty well at Richmond, so he is now on the staff. So you've got on the relief staff, even though nobody is, McMichael is still your closer. You got Wohlers, who looked good yesterday, won the game. What is he, 4-0? You got Bedrosian, who won a Cy Young Award as a reliever with the Phillies a few years back, and a former Giant. You got Greg Olson, who has just been an all-star. You got Mike Stanton, who was a stopper. So, I mean, they've got a lot of choices here on this staff. This is chopped wide of Jimmy Williams at third. I mean, any one of those guys could step forward at any moment and just be as good a closer as there is in the league.
Well, Leo Mazzoni was saying it earlier. How many clubs can bring in a Steve Bedrosian in the 6th or 7th to get you out of a tough situation? Now they've got Greg McMichael, who's so effective right now as their closer. Greg Olson will be eased into those situations.
Kelly swings and misses at a 3-2 pitch, and he is gone. So good, tough pitch by Solomon Torres. And Roberto has struck out. Strike number 3 for Torres.
Torres has shown real good command himself tonight. There's another good fastball at the knees away from the right-handed hitting Kelly.
This is as good an outing. I mean, he's pitching against the Atlanta Braves here, a team that hit 3 homers in 3 innings yesterday. Kind of an interesting schedule. I mean, there's a day game Monday, day game Tuesday, night game tonight. This is a 3-game road trip for the Braves. They were at home on Sunday. They flew out here to San Francisco. They're going back home tonight. They'll get there about 7 in the morning. They have a day off tomorrow before they open up another home. So kind of a weird schedule.
Trip all the way across country to play 3 games.
Of course, we came all the way across the country to announce this one. We like that.
Announcing's a little bit easier.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, just a little bit.
You sure enough? Count is 1-1 to Jeff See-Through Blauser. 1 for 2. Singled his last time up. And there's a whip-it arm motion by Torres, and there's lots of action on that. Either if he throws a curve or if he throws that sinking fastball, they can tail either way. Solomon is just 5'11", 165. So on a windy day at Candlestick, you hope he doesn't get blown around on the mound. Ripped by Blauser. Oh! Oh, Clayton steps on second to get Maddux and makes the double play. A shot by Blauser. Clayton had him played perfectly. And the Braves are gone. Barry Bonds will lead it off for the Giants, trailing 1-0. Yeah, the Giants fans try to get their team in motion. They've out-hit the Braves 4-2, but they trail Greg Maddux 1-0. Sunday night baseball, I'll tell you a team in motion. Cleveland Indians. Boy, they don't lose at home, do they? They're on the road at the Oakland A's. The A's have just beaten up on Toronto in Skydome at the end of the night. So the Indians and the A's, Sunday night baseball with John and Joe at 8 Eastern time. And remember, even when Cleveland was horrible and Oakland was the best team in baseball, they'd go into Oakland and tattoo that pitching staff. Barry Bonds fouls the first pitch out of play. And Buck, let's take a look at that defensive shift employed by Bobby Cox.
And it's very unusual. Take a look at Pendleton. Now that's Pendleton at shortstop, and he's still playing the pull. The entire left side of the infield is vacant. 3 infielders on the right side. Bobby Cox said, you know, I was a little concerned that Bonds might bunt down there. Boy, if there's not a better time than this right now, 1-0 game.
Well, there's a grounder, and exactly that's the shortstop, Blauser, positioned perfectly, and Barry is just frustrated. Cox has used this shift all 3 games.
He said his charts on Bonds and what he's done against the Braves dictate that they play everybody on the right side. Take a look at the eyes as Bonds is right on that pitch, but hits it off the end of the bat, grounds it to the shortstop, who is playing on the first base side of second.
So Barry is 0 for 3, and Willie McGee fouls it back. Willie 0 for 2 tonight. Rounded to second base and is struck out. For Maddux thus far tonight, 4 hits, 5 Ks. The 2 walks came back-to-back in the last inning, the 5th. But yet a pitching line that we have grown accustomed to seeing. Chopper.
Wow, that hit Maddux. It came up and surprised him and bounced and hit him in the chest. And he's talking to Bruce Fremming, the home plate umpire. Said, that's my fault, Bruce. He didn't mean to get that close to that ball and made a very close play out of it. Watch Maddux. He knows it's going to be foul, but look at the ball bounce back toward him and hits him, fortunately, just in foul ground. But Bruce Fremming, right on top of the play, in line with the foul line, called it foul, and appropriately so. But that was a lot closer play than it should have been.
0-2 pitch to Willie McGee, and he gets him fishing. So Maddux continues with a strikeout in every inning. He now has 6. There are 2 down.
Maddux feels that the hitters are most vulnerable 0-2, and he goes right after McGee with a changeup and gets a strikeout. So many pitchers don't know how to finish off hitters when they get ahead of them 0-2. They'll waste a couple of pitches and not really have an idea where they should go to retire the hitter. You know, Maddux beat San Francisco back in April. 9 innings, 3 hits, no walks, 9 strikeouts, and 97 pitches. Another changeup to Benzinger.
Count is 1-1 to Todd Benzinger.
Look at the balance there in the delivery. Everything is right toward home plate. Took something off that changeup. Real good arm action on his changeup. Never alerts the hitter. Doesn't do anything differently.
Well, I'll tell you something, Buck. When Roger Clemens, of course, is dead on, I would still take him on a 1-game basis. But with all apologies to Wilson Alvarez, who still hasn't lost since last August, and others like Tommy Glavine, who's obviously in the dugout tonight, I think we're looking at the best pitcher right now in the major leagues. Do you agree?
Yeah, if you needed to win a ball game, it'd be awfully difficult to select someone other than Greg Maddux to go to the mound for you.
Benzinger fishing, and it's 2-2.
Another fellow that's really off to a great start this year is David Cone, who had so much success in the National League. And he, much like Maddux, has taken a new approach. He said, you know, strikeouts are overrated. This year, he's putting the ball in play, relying an awful lot on his defense, which is very good. And Cone has already tallied 8 wins.
Yeah, but this is the guy right here. I think right now is the best in the game. Of course, he's the full count to Benzinger. Greg will step off him. Only he and Gaylord Perry have won Cy Young awards with 2 different teams. Only 2 guys. Perry not with the Giants, with Cleveland and San Diego. That's the 3rd walk and the 3rd in the last 2 innings. But again, the Giants with base runners with 2 out. So Benzinger aboard and Royce Clayton, who was 0 for 2, coming up. Just to finish that thought by Maddux, you know, we gave you that nice list with McGriff. The only other guys to win 2 straight Cy Young awards: Sandy Koufax, Danny McClain, Jim Palmer, Roger Clemens, Greg Maddux. Again, pretty good list. Ball 1 to Royce Clayton.
Remember the conversation Bobby Bonds had with Royce Clayton in the dugout after Clayton had popped up with runners on base, reminding him to have a plan at the plate, be a little more selective, set up away. Takes that high pitch. Bobby Bonds does a great job with these hitters in pointing out to them what their strengths are, giving him a good game plan. In this case, Royce Clayton, young shortstop. Bonds had a talk with him after he had popped up back in the 4th inning with a runner at second base in a 1-0 situation at that point.
Good lead by Benzinger, and there's a 2-1 count to Clayton.
So Clayton took that strike. He had some other pitch on his mind.
Nothing. The Braves lead the Giants here in the bottom of the 6th. Oh, Clayton didn't like the call from Bruce Fremming. Thought it was a little up. And he'll take a walk out of the box. Fremming behind the plate. Jerry Crawford at first. Mike Winters at second. Jeff Kellogg at third. Here's a look. I just thought it was wide.
That was that little cutter Maddux throws.
Certainly wasn't too high. We know that. 2-2 pitch. There's a 1 hit to right center field. Benzinger around second will go to third with 2 outs. The throw cut off by Blauser, kind of in self-defense. And a good piece of 2-out hitting by Clayton. He picked a spot. Lemke played him over a little bit more to the first base side than you might normally position. And that time, Clayton found the spot.
And he stayed back. He didn't panic when he got the 2 strikes. He had the conversation with Bonds, thinking about being more selective. Benzinger goes to third base. Justice's throw to Blauser is kept right there at short, and that'll bring back a smile on anybody's face. First and third for the Giants again, but they haven't been able to cash in on Greg Maddux.
4th straight inning. They've had a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. Now here's Jeff Reed, who singled sharply to lead off the 5th. His average on the year is 136, but his average against Maddux lifetime close to 300. Remember, he singled and then was picked off from first in the 5th inning.
Well, this is what Dusty Baker had in mind when he put Reed's name in the lineup tonight. Maybe he could get up there with a chance to drive in a run. He's had a lot of success against Greg Maddux, and there aren't that many hitters anywhere that have had much success against him. What happens, Chris, when you've had success against a particular pitcher, particularly someone as tough as Maddux is, you have confidence. You step into the plate. There's no panic in your approach, and you will be more patient to look at the ball and make sure it's a good pitch. A few hits give you confidence, and you know, hey, I hit this guy well. Already he's got a hit on him tonight.
There's a strike. Count is 2-1. Runners at the corners for the Giants, who have out hit the Braves 5-2, but trail it 1-0. Bottom of the 6th. Solomon Torres, the pitcher spot, due up next, but seeing that the Giants had something going a batter ago, lefty Pat Gomez got up to throw in case the Giants need a pinch hitter for Torres in this spot. Reed held off. Did he go? No. Says Jeff Kellogg at third base, and the count is 3-1. Pitch. Ball 4 and the bases are loaded. So Torres is walking to the plate, but he's looking back in the dugout, and yeah, I wouldn't walk that fast. Solomon has pitched brilliantly, but in this spot you got to pinch hit for him, obviously, and the fans behind the dugout have given him the standing O. As well, he deserves it.
Maybe he thought he was going to get up there before Dusty Baker would notice, and now they've
Davey Martinez.
Dave Martinez out on deck. Torres with a fine outing tonight against Atlanta. Just 2 hits through 6 innings of work, and he's going to give way to the pinch hitter Dave Martinez. Leo Mazzoni, the pitching coach, out to have a chat with Greg Maddux. Just a little refresher on Dave Martinez, who's swinging the bats to get loose. Martinez 4 for 17 as a pinch hitter. He has 3 RBIs, and Solomon Torres is pulling for him to come up with a key base hit here. We've talked about it all night long. The Giants haven't been able to deliver with runners in scoring position, and here's another opportunity.
Well, the guys off the bench last year in this sort of role, Martinez played about almost half the time for much of the season, or a third of the time in center field, spelling Darren Lewis. He hadn't hit as much. Guys like a Martinez, a carry-on, and a big season last year off the bench, because they've had to use some of the bench as starters. They haven't had the type of production in a pinch hitting role, though, as you mentioned, Martinez okay in that department this season. So 2 out, sacks full of Giants. Benzinger, Clayton, and Reed aboard.
4 walks in a game is a season high for Maddux.
All of them in the last 2 innings. All of them when 2 were out. Interesting. Up top and inside for a ball. Crowd getting into it here. The crowd, I only haven't announced it yet. Close to 20,000, 18, 17. Buck guesses 17,533. We'll see. At 39,000 here Monday, 27,000 here yesterday for the Braves. Trying to find that tape on Lopez's fingers. 1-0 the count to Martinez, bases loaded. Inside low, ball 2. So Greg Maddux all of a sudden having trouble finding the plate.
Take a look at a big gap in right center between Justice and Roberto Kelly. They don't expect Martinez to be able to pull Maddux.
Lopez set up on the outside, and the pitch went inside, Buck.
Yeah, Maddux is having trouble right now with his command.
Well, I would think it's safe to say that we see the red light here.
See the target outside, and Martinez has to duck away.
Well, they're fired up for a walk. I've never seen a crowd on its feet looking for a walk before. This is great. I mean, it's not like they're expecting a base hit. I mean, they're just rooting for a walk.
Well, they know how tough Maddux is in these situations. They'll take it any way they can get it.
It's the Braves. Let's not forget it's the Braves. Count is 3-1, 2 out, bases loaded. Stanton up in the pen. Along with, I think, is that Bedrosian down there loosening up?
Yeah. Steve Bedrosian and Mike Stanton have gotten up.
Yeah, but they're not a factor right here. They're just getting up here. Maddux has to come in. Crowd again on its feet. Oh, Martinez thought he had ball 4. He took it for strike 2, and the count is full.
Let's take a look at this called strike. He jumps out of the way. Javi Lopez did a pretty good job of receiving that ball. Held it there for Bruce Fleming to have a good look at.
Well, here it is. 1-0 game, the Braves. Bases loaded Giants, bottom of the 6th. Full count, 2 out. Oh, he pulled the chain. Fooled Martinez, who was out in front of it. And again, the Giants do not deliver with men in scoring position.
3-2 off-speed pitch. Greg Maddux gets out of another jam.
Welcome back to Candlestick Park in San Francisco for ESPN and Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Coors Light. Yeah, the Giants had the bases loaded against Greg Maddux, but could not deliver as Maddux came up with a tough pitch to K. Davey Martinez after he strung him out at 3-0. And so now Martinez pinch hitting for the pitcher Solomon Torres, who pitched brilliantly, giving up only 2 hits. But now the Giants turned it over to left-handed reliever Pat Gomez, who worked in yesterday's ball game.
Pat Gomez made his first appearance with San Francisco back on May 9th. Pitched a perfect 9th inning against the Rockies. He was purchased from Phoenix on the 6th of May. He was 1-0 at Phoenix with a save and 11 relief appearances. This will be Gomez's 6th appearance.
And as we work the top of the 7th inning, Tony Tarasco, Fred McGriff, and David Justice. 2 lefties, so hence the lefty Pat Gomez. Mike Jackson, who is just simply a workhorse for the San Francisco Giants. Jack did not throw yesterday. With the day off tomorrow, he's limbering up for yet perhaps another appearance. He has 6 straight years, either in Seattle or San Francisco, led his team in appearances.
Awfully comforting to know that you've got a Brazilian arm like Jackson's. You take good care of it, and he'll give you an awful lot of good outings.
Grounded to Benzinger. Nice play. The flip to Gomez. And there is 1 out here in the Atlanta 7th. A reminder that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball, whoever the hell that may be, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any way, shape, or form without express written consent. I think, as we said on Monday, Buck, I predict by the end of the century there will be a new commissioner in Major League Baseball.
That's soon, eh?
I'm going out on a limb, I understand.
Yeah, you are.
But you know, I am the Swami. I feel I must make a prediction. Grounded by McGriff. Patterson to Benzinger, and very quickly there's 2 out in the Atlanta 7th. And Gomez, a couple of ground ball outs against the left-handed hitting Braves lineup, at least for this part of the lineup. McGriff out, and there's David Justice. Justice is 0 for 1 in a walk. Only 2 hits the night for the Braves. Blauser with a single, and the pitcher Greg Maddux with a single. That's it. But yet, they lead it 1-0.
Well, they got that hit and run single off the bat of Jeff Blauser in the 4th inning, and that led to the only run in this ball game. Remember, Roberto Kelly was walked to start the 4th. Solomon Torres was perfect through 3. And the Braves cashed that in to the only run of the game.
Count is 2-1 to David Justice. At the top of the order, due up in the 7th inning against Greg Maddux. Large bullpens, dugouts here. That ball is skipped to my darling, off the shin guards of Reed. The change here at Candlestick Park is the larger and lower dugouts. So they've really done what they can here the last 2 years. The new ownership, Peter McGowan and company, to make it as user-friendly as possible. Winds, etc., you can't do everything about, but to improve the sight lines for both those that participate and those that watch.
Yeah, a lot of real positive comments from all players about the way the dugouts are now. Remember how they used to be ground level and dirt, and it was dusty and dirty in that dugout all the time. Now they're quite comfortable and much better sight line for the fans behind them.
Justice had good sight lines at that at bat. He draws the base on balls from Gomez. So their base runner for the Braves have been scarce tonight. Justice aboard with 2 out, and here's Terry Pendleton. You hear the PA announcer, Sherry Davis, the female PA announcer in her 2nd year. Got some press last year, certainly. Pendleton, a fly ball to right and a fielder's choice this evening. Hits this one pretty well to center field, but Darren Lewis is there. That's kind of where the ball is sailing, and you saw it almost sail over DeLu's head. But the Braves are gone. 7th inning stretch time here at Candlestick. Giants down by a run. Well, the Giants hoping to fry the Braves tonight. They trail at 1-0 in the bottom of the 7th, but they got to reach Greg Maddux first, Buck.
Greg Maddux has been outstanding. Good command of all of his pitches. There he gets Williams on a breaking ball. Inside fastball to Jeff Reed. Willie McGee chases a changeup down, and Torres takes a fastball away from him for a strike. Willie McGee again, another changeup. Look at this pitch. 3-2 changeup. Martinez strikes out with the bases loaded to end that Giant scoring threat. Not a whole lot of pitchers in the big leagues will throw a 3-2 changeup that well.
So Greg Maddux now working the bottom of the 7th inning, looking for his 9th win of the year. Facing the top of the Giants lineup, Darren Lewis, John Patterson, and Matt Williams. Maddux on the night. He surrendered 5 hits. You just saw the 7 strikeouts. Buck, one of the pitches that he throws, as Lewis showed bunt, pulled it back, took it for a strike. On one of those strikeouts, even though he's a righty, the ball tails to the right side of the plate, almost like if you were throwing a screwball. I mean, it's not obviously what he throws, but it cuts a little differently than a lot of right-handed pitchers can do it.
He's got a running fastball that he can make that kind of action. He's got a changeup that he can get to move down and away from the left-handers. And here's a guy that really works at a lot of different aspects of his game, understanding how you make the ball move. He really works hard on both sides of the plate. A lot of big league pitchers that are successful have a dominant side, one side or the other. But the great pitchers can dominate either side, like Maddux. He can go to either side of the plate just about any time he wants to and get a strike.
Lewis took that one for ball 1-2. Now, here's what's also interesting about Maddux. If you look at this staff, best fastball on the staff, probably John Smoltz, maybe even Merker. Best. Here's Lewis, a little blooper that Blauser will handle. You know where I'm going here. Best change, probably Glavine. Best curve is probably Avery. We haven't mentioned Maddux's name yet, is my point, but yet best overall is Greg Maddux. Am I right with that?
I think so. He can really do a lot of different things, and he can always read hitters, see how they're catching up to particular pitches and make the appropriate adjustments.
So we've talked about the problems the Giants have had in the 2 slot. Well, here Patterson will ground out to Lemke. I was going to say he's been aboard all 3 times, but not all 4 times. There are 2 outs here in the 7th inning. Well, one of the events that we've had from our first year of existence, the College World Series from Rosenblatt Stadium in Omaha, Nebraska. It's so much fun to have that back on the air. We begin Friday night at 3:30 Eastern. Georgia Tech against Cal State Fullerton in the first game, and then the 7:30 game on Friday is LSU against Florida State. Barry Bonds on deck, of course, with Arizona State. You saw him play in the College World Series in years gone by. So many of the guys now in the bigs you've seen, hopefully, over our 15 years of coverage of the College World Series. Here's Matt Williams, the heavy metal of the Giants order. Matty is 0 for 3 tonight, and Bonds 0 for 3 tonight as well. So again, that bearing down by Maddux when he needs it.
Another great changeup.
Count is 0-2 to Matt Williams.
Watch the follow through. Took something off the breaking pitch down and out of the strike zone, and that's a new wrinkle that Matt Williams hasn't seen tonight from Maddux. That's the aspect of mixing up all of his different pitches. One particular pitch might not be that dominant for Greg Maddux, but it's the combination of several very effective pitches that makes him so tough to hit.
Matty steps back in. Base is empty, 2 outs, 0-2 the count on Matt Williams. And he rung him up with a pitch on the outside corner that Williams will talk to Bruce Fremming about, but probably is not going to get very far. We've played 7. Greg Maddux and the Braves lead the Giants 1-0. Back of the stick, the Braves looking to sweep the San Francisco Giants. Behind Greg Maddux, lead them 1-0 here in the top of the 8th inning. Mike Jackson is the new pitcher for the Giants, and in Jack, he's almost appeared in 30 games already. Buck, here it is, June 1st.
Well, he's tied for the league in appearances. This will be his 29th appearance. A very good 3-1 record. He's saved 4 out of 6 games he's had the opportunity in. Good hard fastball and a very sharp breaking slider.
Of course, Jackson, Billy Swift, and Dave Burbashave came over in that trade a couple of years ago from the Mariners for Kevin Mitchell. So Mitch, of course, had great years here in San Francisco, and the trade paying great dividends. There's Matt Williams across the diamond to Benzinger, and there is one down as Javi Lopez, swinging at the first pitch, is gone. 7-8-9 for the Braves here in the 8th inning. Lopez, Lemke, and Maddux. For Greg Maddux this year, he has, what, 3 complete games? 3 complete games, although he has pitched 9 innings 4 times. Lemke will take the pitch for a ball. If you're looking ahead to the Giants' 8th inning, it's Bonds, McGee, and Benzinger. 4, 5, 6. Strike out of the outside corner. Boy, Solomon Torres. It's hard for him to pitch much better than he did tonight, but yet he's staring at a loss. Jack took something off that one, and Lemke went fishing.
Boy, good command there, too. He really threw a good pitch at the knees on the outside corner. Mike Jackson is allowed a 157 opponent's batting average. They've got a pretty good bullpen, boy. You get late in the ball game.
Little tapper to Patterson, over to Benzinger, and there's 2 outs. The bullpen did not do the job yesterday as the Giants lost a 2-0 lead, a 3-2 lead, and then in a 3-3 game gave up 3 runs in the 9th. Jackson didn't pitch, and Beck didn't pitch. Beck was hit for a home run by Jarvis Brown here on Monday afternoon. But yet the Giants bullpen normally has been a mainstay and will be this year. And we're looking at one of the reasons Jackson, who was pitching to Maddux, and Greg taking a good cut at that high fastball. Maddux is one of the 2 Braves hits tonight. They just have 2 hits. Maddux a single to right in the 6th. Blauser a single to right in the 4th. 0-2. Maddux took a good cut, but couldn't catch up to the fastball by Mike Jackson. An impressive 1-2-3 inning for him. Bonds to lead it off against Maddux as we head to the bottom of the 8th. Braves up 1-0. Now they're playing the William Tell Overture just on cue because nobody is more fired up in the bottom of the 8th inning than third base coach Wendell Kim. With Barry Bonds coming up, you know the Wendell's getting out of the box, and there he goes. Look at him go. Hi-yo Silver. Wendell Kim is ready to give the signs in the third base box, and Barry Bonds is up with the Bond shift. Can't believe that was like
perfect.
You can't script it better than
that. You had something to do with that. I know you did.
Ah, we have connections here. Again, look at the shift. 3 infielders to the right side of second base. And Barry Bonds looks at strike 1 from Greg Maddux. And Pendleton, I mean, is even not even a true shortstop position. An excuse me little pool cue shot just down the third baseline might roll forever.
You got to wonder whether or not Barry Bonds is thinking, boy, if I just push a hard bunt down there, it's going to be 2. That thought has crossed his mind.
Well, not on an inside pitch like that, it hasn't.
Well, now it's really not going to cross his mind. Maddux straightened him up, so he's just thinking about hitting one out of the ballpark to tie the game up. So Maddux might have served himself very well by throwing that inside fastball there.
1-1 pitch to Barry Bonds. Outside and high, 2-1.
Bonds has hit 6 home runs against Greg Maddux.
Fouls it off himself. 2-2 the count to lead off the 8th. Bonds, McGee, and Benzinger against Greg Maddux.
Greg Maddux just doesn't give you too many good swings. He took something off that pitch. Barry Bonds, after that first at bat, hasn't had many good pitches to hit. He got a good pitch to hit it right on the nose, but it was right to McGriff at first. That was way back in the first inning.
The MVP up against the Cy Young Award winner. Bonds went deep off Maddux here in a game last year in April. Kind of set the tone for the entire season. That's inside. It's 3-2. McGee on deck. Off speed. Bonds takes it. Giants have the tying run on. So Bonds with a good eye as again Maddux took the off-speed approach on a 3-2 pitch, and now everybody moving because the fielders are going back to their true lineup.
Now Bonds is 10 for 13 in stolen base attempts. Javi Lopez hasn't had a real good start here throwing runners out. 26% on the season.
McGee tries to bunt it down the left field line. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, my goodness. It's a fair ball. That thing just never took a turn foul. It was as if it's angled in down the third baseline. So McGee with a bunt single that just never did what the Braves wanted it to do.
Perfect bunt down the third baseline. Pendleton elects to let it roll foul, but watch it stay right in the foul line. In fact, will roll back toward fair territory.
That thing got Lyme disease. It picked up so much chalk down the line.
First and second, nobody out.
Well, there's a break perhaps for the Giants. Todd Benzinger is up. The conference at the mound. Benzinger 1 for 2 with a walk. The 6th Giant hit. McGee's dribbling bunt. So the Giants in the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, and now the 8th. have runners in scoring position, although Buck, this is the first time they've had one in scoring position with less than 2 outs. Benzinger the bunt. McGriff to lefty. Runners at second and third with 1 out.
Todd Benzinger, with his first sacrifice bunt of the season, moves Bonds to third base. And Willie McGee, the potential go-ahead run, is in scoring position at second. Perfect bunt by Benzinger, takes it toward the first baseman, Fred McGriff, and kills it in the grass. McGriff has but one play, and that's the first base. But Benzinger does his job.
Here comes Bobby Cox, who has the right-handed Bedrosian throwing and the left-handed Mike Stanton throwing in the bullpen. Royce Clayton coming up as 1 for 3. Singled to right his last time up. Jeff Fried is up after that. Bruce Fleming to break up this discussion. I didn't think that with the shutout that he would yank Maddux here.
Well, he was talking about options. They've got a base open at first base. Clayton had singled last time up against Maddux. But remember the matchup. Jeff Reed, the on-deck batter, with a hit tonight, has hit nearly 300 against Greg Maddux. Maddux, 7 1/3, 6 hits, no runs, 5 walks. That's a season high.
Starts Royce Clayton off with a ball. Bonds the runner at third. McGee at second. 1-0. Braves lead bottom 8. Chris Berman and Buck Martinez, glad you could check us out in Hotel California. Oh, he had Clayton fooled on that one, and it's 1-1. He really can pull that string. That was about as slow the pitches he's thrown tonight.
Well, the thing that makes it so effective is the fact that his arm action comes through so quickly. And it's a little cut fastball away from him. Took a little off, down to about 80 miles an hour. Against Maddux in this situation, I think you've just really got to make up your mind you're going to go the other way. Stay back. Don't even try to force anything to the left side. Once again, Maddux is upset now. He stepped off the rubber because he didn't like the pitch that Javi Lopez put down. And then he covered his mouth so nobody could read his lips about the pitch he wanted to throw. He quickly called Lopez out. Maddux had a pitch on his mind. He was thinking about it, but got the wrong sign from his catcher, called timeout.
Well, you mentioned opposite way, Buck. The center fielder Kelly is shaded towards right center. Off-speed pitch misses inside and low. 2-1. The right fielder Justice is swung around to right, so they're expecting Clayton to go to the opposite field.
Well, they're pitching him away. In this situation with 1 out, the tying run at third base, you got to think sacrifice fly. Get something up that you can drive to the outfield.
2-1 the count. Bonds at third, McGee at second.
The best arm in the outfield is Tarasco in left. Kelly throws well. Justice is about average.
Now Maddux and Lopez, really what we have here is a failure to communicate.
And momentum and confidence is so important. Look at Maddux's frustration. He was shaking his head. Distractions. Difficult to deal with distractions in a 1-0 ball game.
Missed outside. 3-1. Remember, first base is open. So he doesn't have to come in with it, but he will.
Don't expect him to throw a fastball. We saw him throw a 3-2 changeup to Dave Martinez with the bases loaded and 2 outs.
That's up top, off-speed pitch, as you suggested, Buck. And the bases are loaded for Jeff Reed. Now you say, big deal. Reed is hitting 136 on the year. But, as you pointed out, Buck, he's close to 300 lifetime against Maddux. Of course, Reed, a catcher, does not run well. So a ground ball, and you're looking for the home to first double play. 1-0 Braves, bottom 8. The wheels turning. 6th walk issued by Maddux. Bonds, McGee, Clayton aboard. All of them can move. So conversely, a gapper could score 3. Good pitch on the outside corner, strike 1, a fastball.
When Reed singled in the 5th inning, it was a fastball on the inside part of the plate.
That he pulled. They're playing him to go the opposite way. Kelly shaded to left center. Carrasco pretty much over toward the left field line in left. There's a gap in right center. Reed gets under it. Will it be far enough? Don't think so. Kelly calls off Carrasco. Bonds bluffs, but no way. It's just too close. The throw comes in, and there's now 2 out. And a pinch hitter for Mike Jackson, which Dusty Baker is still. Could this be J.R. Phillips' shot? Boy, this is a great moment. J.R. Phillips, the heir apparent to Will Clark one day, was called up today by the Giants. Last 10 games, he's had 19 RBIs at Triple-A Phoenix. So here it is, the youngster against the master with the bases loaded, and the Giants and the Braves.
J.R. Phillips came up last year at the end of the season. Bobby Cox very concerned, of course. But this is Phillips' 2nd trip to the big leagues with the Giants. He came up last September, batted .313. It was 5 for 16. Hit a double, a triple, and a home run in 11 games. Giants will take a base hit right now.
12 homers, 44 RBIs, hitting .257 at Phoenix. We told you 19 RBIs the last 10 games, but that's at Phoenix. That's not against Greg Maddux. Phillips hits it to left, but Carrasco is there, and he makes the catch. And once again, the Giants do not deliver with runners in scoring position. It's been their theme all year. It's been their theme tonight. 1-0 Braves through 8. Now, Greg Maddux certainly did his job, wriggled free from another bases-loaded situation, and Bucky is trotting off toward the clubhouse, which is down the right field line. So he's turned it over to the bullpen. And boy, we have seen the San Francisco Giants, who hit .225 with runners in scoring position, 2nd worst in baseball, The league average is 272, and here's their problem in a microcosm. Admittedly, it's against the premier pitcher in the league.
Yeah, Maddux has made some good pitches, but the Giants have stranded 11 runners in this 1-0 ball game, and Dusty Baker's got to be scratching his head over in that dugout thinking, who is going to get out of this thing? Who's going to come up with a big hit? And right now, they've turned it over to Rod Beck in this situation to work to Bobby Kelly to start the 9th inning.
Well, this tells you how much Dusty would like the game. Yes, they have a day off tomorrow, but Rod Beck usually doesn't come in unless it's tied or certainly the Giants in the lead. But Dusty is playing this one with Jackson the 8th, Beck the 9th, as if he has the lead, which he does not. Now the Braves only have 2 hits, and Beck dusting Kelly back off the plate. The count is 1-1. Tonight, when Deion Sanders had a single, double, and triple for the Reds, Roberto Kelly is 0 for 2 and a walk, but has scored the only run of the night. He grounds out to short. There is 1 out. The only run of the game, scoring on a sac fly by Tony Tarasco. Back in the 4th inning, scoring Roberto Kelly.
Well, the bullpen has done a fine job tonight. They've retired 8 of the 9 batters they've faced. Gomez, Jackson, and now Rod Beck. Just 2 hits for the Braves.
One of them by Maddux. But yet, that's what good pitching when you get only 2 hits and you still stand to win the game. Braves looking to go to 20-7 on the road. Jeff Blauser, he has 2 of the 3 Brave hits on the night. Blauser, a sharp single up the middle with 1 out. Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals. The Rangers hosting the Vancouver Canucks. Tomorrow night at 8, 5 on the West Coast. Can the Canucks pull the big upset? Or can the Rangers win their first Stanley Cup since Davey Kerr was in the pipes? Bill and Bun Cook, Frank Boucher, the old Rangers, the ghosts of the past. Canucks lead, of course, 1-0. Here is Tony Tarasco, way out in front of that pitch by Beck, and he chops it into the Giants dugout. You're looking to the Giants' 9th. Top of the order. Darren Lewis, John Patterson, and Matt Williams, with Bonds due up 4th. So don't go anywhere. Here goes the base runner Blauser on the hit and run, but it's a foul ball. And we'll do it again.
Chris, we talked about the Braves making the big deal with the Reds picking up Roberto Kelly. Once again, Kelly's had an impact in this ball game. He was hit by a pitch in the 4th inning, came around to score the only run of the ball game. We got Kelly to provide a right-handed back. There's Greg McMichael.
Will be the man.
Numbering up down in the right field and left field bullpen.
Michael took over as the stopper last August and did a fine job. And that's the role that he still owns here with the Braves as Beck is up top. And the count is 1-2 to Tony Tarasco. Tarasco 0 for 2, but the only RBI with a sac fly. Here's a number that doesn't come in to play in this particular case, Buck, but again, it goes along with the theme that we've been talking about. The Giants have been tied in the 9th inning 10 times. Their record in those games, 1-9.
Clutch hitting. Haven't been getting.
Obviously, I mean, 1-0. It's not the specific situation here. Of course, they haven't lost a game in the 9th that they have led since 1992. I mean, everyone has impressive numbers, but no one is that good. They're like 139-0. But 1-9 in tie games in the 9th kind of tells you a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, they haven't been able to get that big hit. Dusty Baker's waiting for somebody to get hot in these situations.
Bases loaded in the 6th. Pinch hitter Martinez struck out for Johnny B. Baker. Bases loaded in the 8th. J.R. Phillips, first pitch, flying out to left. Now tip back into the glove of Reed. And Tarasco is gone. There are 2 outs, and Fred McGriff coming up.
Look at this changeup. You can see Tarasco really fooled badly on the pitch. Beck gets his first strikeout.
Beck looks like a reliever.
Yeah, he's got that Goose Gossage makeup.
Yep.
You stare in there.
The hair a little bit Al Hrabosky-esque. The goose. Well, there's ripped by McGriff. Cut off nicely by McGee. Throw comes in quickly, and if that ball had scooted any farther, Blauser would have been around to score. Good defense by McGee. Ball shot by McGriff, and the Braves have runners in the corners.
We have seen this ball skip in the outfield. It did it earlier on Dave Justice when he was charged with an error. McGee does a real good job of backhanding that ball, keeping McGriff at first, but more importantly, keeping Jeff Blauser at third.
That's just a classic look. Beck doesn't get frazzled either. If he gives up a homer as he did on Monday, he says, give me the ball, I'll throw another one. Well, he doesn't want to get frazzled here. Justice can give the Braves a huge insurance run. And Beck misses with ball 1. Justice 0 for 1, has walked twice tonight. Yeah, Beck bluffing over to Blauser to make a move on Blauser. Of course, Matt Williams was nowhere near the bag. I think he expected Jimmy Williams to cover for him. Pitch missed off speed on the outside corner. 2-0. Pendleton on deck. Well, the way the Giants have been hitting, another run just might crush them here. That's the spot he's trying to hit with the first 2 pitches. Does so this time. It's 2-1. The ski park on for Dusty Baker. First-year manager last year, won 103 games with this ball club. The month of May was his first losing month with a year and a half of managing the Giants.
Yeah, that was pretty frustrating because of the struggles with the bat. I mentioned at the top of the show the Giants were last in the league in hitting.
Again, working the outside corner a little bit wide, and it's 3-1. Crowd getting a little impatient. I figure this is just a formality of the ninth, and let's see if the Giants can get Williams and Bonds working. Williams due up third, Bonds fourth. In the bottom of the ninth. Rip but foul. So the count now is full. 3-2, 2 outs. Blauser is at third. Obviously, McGriff will be going from first. That's another thing they have here. Gentlemen over 70 who like people who are in pretty good shape. They're the ones that make the plays down there. And it looks like something out of the gay 90s.
The ball grandpas.
Yep. It's an interesting angle here by the Giants. Those are the ball boys, if you will. Ball men. Now he loses Justice, and the bases are full for Terry Pendleton. Justice, good patience tonight. Buck has walked 3 times.
Well, that's an aspect of his hitting that has allowed him to hit over 300 to start off the season here. Now Dusty Baker with a concerned walk in the dugout. Jeff Reed out to talk to Rod Beck.
Well, Terry Pendleton is 0 for 3 tonight. Chopper fielded by Pat O.K. Corrales. Well, we're getting a rumble. I want Pat on my side. Not that I'm counting on one.
It's too cold for a rumble.
Right. Foul back, so Beck ahead of Pendleton 0-2. Bases full of Braves. They lead it 1-0 here in the top of the ninth. Top of the order, due up for the Giants. That's the right pitch. Outside, Pendleton didn't offer, so it's 1-2. Outside again. Beck didn't like that throw.
Now he came out of his delivery and fell through toward the first base foul line. Watch how his body goes over toward the first base. The follow through is out of balance a bit. You can see he wasn't pleased with that pitch at all.
Pendleton reaches out to foul it off. Count remains 2-2. Pendleton a lifetime against Beck, 1 for 13. But 2 would be trouble for San Francisco. The Braves looking to sweep this 3-game series before they wing it home tonight to open up a homestand against the Dodgers on Friday night. Ripped. Foul. Terry was on it, but a couple of feet wide at first.
Just out in front of it. He hit it on the button to pull it foul. That had to get Dusty's attention. I don't want to see any more of those late inning heroics against him. The Braves won it in their last at bat in the first 2 games in this series. Beck gave up the home run to Jarvis Brown on Monday in the 11th.
3 in the 9th yesterday. There's the pitch. He took a little bit off it. Pendleton struck out, and we move to the 9th. The Giants trail by 1 run. ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by MCI Friends Around the World. Will the horn be blowing for the Giants? Rod Beck certainly hopes so. 28,208. Hoping that this is the inning that they bust through. After all, they're rid of Greg Maddux, and they're on to Greg McMichael, the 27-year-old stopper from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Well, McMichael pitched the perfect inning of relief yesterday to notch his 10th save. He was the winning pitcher on Monday here against the Giants.
A productive little 3-game road trip for McMichael, I would say. Potentially. Here's McMichael's numbers on the year. Remember, he took over in the closer role about August last season. 10 saves thus far, an ERA barely over 2. Darren Lewis is 1 for 3. Singled in the 3rd, walked and stole a base in the 5th. Ground ball. Blauser can't make the play, and there perhaps a break for the Giants. Ball was short hop attempt by Blauser. Couldn't make the play, and Lewis aboard for the 3rd time tonight.
Watch the ball just die on Blauser. He's got to come hard. He knows it's going to be a tough play with Darren Lewis and his good speed. He couldn't make the play. That'll be an error for the Braves shortstop, and the Giants have the tying run on base.
Greg Kilborn and our newest Sports Center anchor, Brett Haber, standing by Sports Center after the game. John Patterson will bunt it. A good one. Lopez looked at second, went to Lepke at first. The tying run, Lewis on to second base.
Well, he gave a good look to second base, and he might have had a shot. He got to it quickly, barehanded it, and thought about going to second base. Take a look at the young catcher shoot out from behind the plate and get to this ball quickly. Look at Lewis at the top of your screen. Right there, he had a shot at him.
Do you take that shot, though?
Nah, he went to first base, safety first.
Safety to first, right?
Yeah, maybe a little bit too safe. He had a pretty decent shot at the guy at second.
Well, here it is. You got the tying run at second base with 1 out. Williams up. Bonds up next. The Giants, who have left 11 on tonight. have their big RBI men in the position they want them in. Bounce. Ball 1 to Matt Williams. Matty is 0 for 4, has struck out twice against Maddux. Barry Bonds is 0 for 3 and a walk. Williams has left 5 runners aboard tonight. Off speed up top, 2-0. Williams looked at the 2-0 pitch, fouled it off, had a play down the right field line. The leading home run hitter in the National League with 19, Matt Williams.
McMichael hasn't allowed a home run this year. He's not an overpowering closer and relies a lot on changing speeds, keeping the ball down in the strike zone. But he's a very effective closer, 10 out of 13 this year. There's a changeup.
Matty has gone fishing a couple times tonight against Maddux. McMichael saw that and got him on a similar pitch, although slower than Maddux throws.
He was way out in front of that pitch. Another very effective changeup. Bobby Bonds hollering to Matt Williams, stay back on that back leg. Keep your weight back. Trust your hands.
2-2 the count. Lewis at second base, the tying run, 1 out. Pulled the trigger again, took something off it. Williams is struck out. There's 2 down, and Barry Bonds is up. The final hope of the Giants.
Another good changeup. You can see Williams was out in front of it, got a piece of it, turns around quickly to see if the catcher caught the foul tip, and then slaps his bat in frustration. Bonds 0 for 4. Took that 0 for 3 with a walk.
Here's the shift again. Although modified a little bit. Blauser still to the second base side of the bag. Outside. Ball 1 to Bonds. There it is. It's worked thus far tonight.
Bobby Bonds showing tremendous confidence in Greg McMichael in this situation. He's his closer, and he's here going to face the Giants. Barry Bonds with the game on the line. Popped him up.
Count is 1-1. Barry Bonds with 32 RBIs thus far this year. Hitting at .293 for Dusty Baker. Outside a low, 2-1. Willie McGee is on deck. On Monday, Bonds walked a couple of times. McGee spanked the Braves for that strategy with 3 RBIs. Now, obviously, Bonds, who would then be the go-ahead run or the winning run, would he? Well, here it's going to happen. So, like we said, McGee hurt the Braves in this situation on Monday. Can he do the same on Wednesday?
Well, when McMichael fell behind Bonds, Bobby Cox said, I'm not even going to chance it. I'm going to put him on. But Barry tosses his bat away in frustration, not getting an opportunity to tie the game up. Turns around and hollers some encouragement to Willie McGee. Come on, Willie, pick us up now.
McGee with 21 RBIs. 3 of them came Monday against the Braves. Sports Center coming up next. Lewis at second, Bonds at first. 2 out. McGee 1 for 4 with that bunt single. Swings through the off-speed pitch by McMichael, strike 1. Outside, McGee lays off. It's 1-1. Lewis the tying run at second, Bonds the winning run at first. McGee has struck out twice tonight. Strike 2, and the Giants are down to their last strike.
Well, the fans get a sense of the Giants' frustration. So far, 0-4 with runners on. Runners in scoring position, they haven't been able to cash in. They've stranded 11, and there are 2 more base runners on here in the ninth.
Inside, 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. The Braves 1 strike away from sweeping the San Francisco Giants, as they did last August here at this stick in their last visit. Gets him to wave at it. McGee is struck out for the 3rd time, and McMichael nails it down for Greg Maddux, who ups his mark to 9-2.
Well, Maddux goes to 9-2. They were able to pitch around the 9th inning there. Greg McMichael picks up his 11th save of the season. The Braves sweep the Giants in San Francisco.
A reminder, Sunday Night Baseball, the Indians at the A's. That's this Sunday at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. So the Atlanta Braves have really put salt in the wound of the Giants. They've beaten them 10 out of the last 12 times. We're glad you could join us here at the Stick. Sports Center coming up in a moment. For Buck Martinez, this is Chris Berman reminding you the Braves win at 1-0. You can check out any time you like, but you can never leave.